Good morning, everybody. This is Diggs. It's another beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest, and today we have a lot of news from Ni no Kuni. It does appear that everything is going to be releasing this week. They haven't given the full details yet. We're going to be going over the costumes, the mounts, the stats that are going to be associated with them, and then a little bit of prep for the upcoming event as well. One other thing to mention is that we are going to be reading the developer's note, just because there is a couple of details in here that I think are pretty interesting. So let's go ahead and dig in. So Aurora Lynx was confirmed, which a lot of us already kind of knew was coming. And along with this, they implemented the new newbie system. They talked about other changes and improvements like Field Boss Season 3, strength and response against hacking, and of course, new costumes and mounts. So of course, we knew that the Nightmare and Evermore event was going to be coming this week. It was pretty clear that it was going to be coming this week if you just kind of know the Ni no Kuni deadlines. We've kind of been in a dead week for the last 2 weeks. And with it are going to come some pretty great costumes. Interestingly, I think this is going to be just like summer from the wording when we do go into the costumes. Because if you look at it, it says in this episode, there will be 2 sets of costumes scheduled to be added over 2 updates. So I imagine we're going to be getting the updated Halloween costumes as well, that the Korean side is getting, unless we are going to be getting the wedding attire, which it seems like the costumes are going to be both Halloween oriented, which would be similar to summer, except when summer launched, we got a selection of which costume we wanted. It looks like they're just going to release the costumes separately. Just to take a quick look at the costumes as well, we haven't seen the updated Halloween Korean costumes yet, but this is going to be rogues. This is going to be destroyers, which personally I think is the best. We're going to have witch. We're going to have swordsman, and we're going to have Engi. And out of all of them, I really think Engi and probably Destroyer are the best. I'm a little bit disappointed in Rogue, Witch, and Swordsman, especially since Rogue seems like it's just more like the art is really cool in this picture, but the actual costume doesn't really capture what I think Rogue looks like in this picture. And I think kind of Witch is a little bit bland, and I think Swordsman is a little bit bland as well. So, compared to Destroyer, which is super crazy awesome, a little bit disappointed. I'll be kind of waiting to see what the other secondary costume is, and again, I'm sure you guys are going to be super hyped if it's the wedding costume or if it's going to be a secondary Halloween costume. Now we are going to be getting an updated mount as well, which is going to be the jet broom. I can already imagine you guys asking me what the stats are going to be on the jet broom, so thanks to this handy dandy list that we have from Thin Bear in my Discord, I can tell you it's going to be HP, defense, and critical resist. It's going to come in at 378 defense. It's going to come in at 4032 HP, and it's going to come in at 565 critical resist. So overall, not the best mount out there. I think if there's a mount to skip, there could be an argument to skip this mount. But really, I mean, with mount accessories, can you really skip any mount if you want to kind of stay relevant? That's kind of what I would throw out there. Before we go ahead and talk about kind of the newbie system and other changes that they're implementing, real quick, just a quick reference page for you, also dug up by Thin Bear in our Discord. For those of you that aren't familiar, when the event does roll out, the Nightmare and Evermore event, you are going to continue giving candy to children. I imagine, and this is going to be kind of the guide to what they drop or what they can give you. So reference this point in the video. Again, if this is something you want to grab for the future, if you just want to be prepared for the upcoming event, screenshot this real quick, and let's hop back to the developer's note and talk about the other things that they're going on here. So the newbie system is an interesting system, which I actually experienced when I created my Korean account. And it is a very good system, I think, for new players to get in. You get access to spell books, you get access to familiars, you get actually a ton of familiars. You get familiars that are plus 300, which are extra surprising. You get awakened familiars as well. You get familiars that are powerful, and these are like the standard familiars. So this is like Might, Ouroboros, you know, so on and so forth. But you do get a lot of familiar, and you do get a lot of power in your account just by going through this. So the new newbie system is going to be very good for new players. It's not going to be extremely overpowered. And what's interesting is they also mentioned that there's special guidebook missions, and that there's other newbie perks as well, which I'll definitely be wanting to dive into, look into. I'll probably make a new account specifically focused on this to see if, you know, we are getting different changes than the Korean side of the game. Field Boss Season 3 is coming out, and what I was surprised here is they did not mention anything about a new Field Boss, and we had been speculating that the new area was going to open up and that we were going to get access to a new field boss for Field Boss Season 3, but it's starting to look like that might not be the case. But it seems like they say there's a lot of other things coming in this update that they haven't talked about. So that's going to be like Kingdom Auction House changes, Workshop, Pets, which... okay, pets is interesting. We'll see what you can do. Familiar Forest, maybe we'll actually get an idea of where to get items from Familiar Forest and more. I just want to know the details. I want to know what they're actually adding in the update, because we are overdue for Higgledy Company. So it's really interesting that we haven't gotten Higgledy Company yet. It's also really interesting that there's nothing mentioned of NFTs here, when we do know that the NFT launch is going to be coming out sometime soon. So I imagine this update may have some things in it that could potentially be like significantly more content if it is like just not announced here, right? So we could surprise get Higgledy Company. I could see that happening. We could potentially get a new field boss. We could get a new zone. I feel like they would advertise that more, and I would be a little disappointed if we didn't get that at this point, because it feels like we are in a bit of a quote-unquote content drought recently in terms of the game, particularly those that are at endgame. Like, all you really have to do is to grind Chaos Field, and that's pretty much it. So I would like to see something added at this point to kind of satisfy higher level players and kind of progress the game. Lastly, they talk about strengthened responses against the use of hacks and unauthorized programs. So this is really interesting because a lot of you guys have seen people on stream hacking against me in Lava Valley, particularly in Southeast Asia. I've heard this is very dominant. I have people coming in my streams complaining about it all the time. And we see it quite often. We see people just like warping all over the place. And particularly in PvP, it can be particularly annoying. And everything I've heard up until now is that these players actually get warnings. So they get warnings. They don't actually get banned immediately when it's been discovered they're using these programs. So because of that kind of like soft touch, I feel like they've been able to get away with it longer than they should be able to. So I really hope the strengthened response is really just an instant ban. Like, I hope their accounts are just instantly banned. There's no, forgiveness. There's no redemption. I really hope that they are just merciless with it, because it is ridiculous when you are dealing with things like Asterite or things that have actual monetary value, that as a company, you are going to tolerate hackers kind of doing that. So I'm sure you guys all have a variety of opinions on that. Please let me know down in the comments down below, and I will catch you guys all next time.